Ooh, welcome everybody to WagerTalk Today, the best sports betting show on the planet, period, bar none. I used to say daily, not anymore. It is simply the best. Simply the best. Yeah, Bryan, better than all the rest. Bryan Power joining us on this show. He's going to take apart some college basketball. Vandy versus Alabama. Utah versus Houston. He's also going to have an early thought on the NFL Conference Championship games. And guys, I have a 100% perfect betting angle for you guys on the Philadelphia-Washington game. It's a 100% perfect angle. So stay with us. I'm going to give that out at the end of the show to keep you guys here the whole time. Andy Lang, he's going to look at some prop bets for us, including one on Patrick Mahomes, and he's got an Australian Open update. Rob Veno, who's sensational on this show, he's going to look at Mississippi State and Tennessee, Wisconsin and UCLA, and in NBA, the Sixers versus the Nuggets. I have it rebet for you guys in the NHL. If you want to make some money, stay with us all the way to the end. Bryan Power, how are you, my friend? What's going on?
Doing well, Prez. That was a lovely introduction, I thought. One of your best in weeks, I think. They're all good, but that one I thought in particular was quite strong, quite solid. I appreciate it. I feel a lot of pressure now.
Well, no pressure. I'm normally not in a sweatshirt. I'm freezing my ass off. It's cold as shit in Toronto. And you know what, Dan, Bryan, there's nothing like being in minus 20-degree weather, waking up in the morning, getting a nice cup of coffee, coming down, logging in to do your show, and having your producer who's sitting in Southern California complaining about the cold.
Yeah, that is sure is something. It's 3 degrees here. And you know what? And that producer, what's really sad about that, Prez, is he grew up in a cold weather town.
Yeah.
Has he forgotten his roots?
He as he says, he's it rhymes with a wussy. Bryan Power! Vandy is playing Alabama tonight in college hoops. Our listeners want to know exactly how to bet that game.
I like Alabama to roll here. Prez, talking about a team that's won 9 of its last 10 overall. 4 of those wins have been against ranked opponents, including Kentucky on the road this past Saturday. That was a game I broke down for everyone here on YouTube on the Power 5, which, of course, you can watch daily here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. I said to take the points with the Crimson Tide. Now, there, obviously, they won outright against Kentucky, like I mentioned. Now, when you talk about a Nate Oates coach team, obviously, offense always at the forefront. Bama leads the country, averaging 90.2 points per game this year. But they're much improved defensively as well, Prez, this season. At least, and remember, this is a team that made it to the Final Four last year. So if they're putting it together defensively, look out. Now, from Vanderbilt's perspective, a couple things I don't like for them in this matchup. One, it's a letdown spot. They're going on the road. They just upset Tennessee over the weekend at home in Nashville. The Commodores' last 2 wins have been by a total of 4 points, and both were at home. The other issue for Vandy, I think, Prez, is they like to speed their opponents up, increase the tempo, which often leads to turnovers for them. Well, the problem is you can't speed Alabama up because they're playing at the fastest tempo in the country already. So I would lay the points here, think Bama wins big, keeps rolling. Roll damn time.
The Commodores.
Yes.
That's their name.
Are you just learning this, sir?
No, I just want to make fun of them.
Okay.
That is a horrible, horrible, horrible name for a team. There's so many songs that come to mind. What is your favorite Commodore song, everybody? Bryan, what's yours?
I don't have one. I apologize.
You don't know who they are.
Time. Well, I know who they are. I knew where you were going with that, and I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't ask me my favorite Commodore song, because I don't have one.
Okay, well, mine is Sail On Down the Line About a Half a Mile or So. Do you know that song?
I don't. And, you sung it so well that I thought it would ring a bell, too. So
I sang it in an American country twang. You know, Lionel Richie
Yes.
wrote that song, Sail On by the Commodores. Who cares? Let's move on. I can just see Johnny Detroit rolling his eyes. Shut up, Prez, and give them some betting info. Okay, Utah is playing Houston in college hoops. Go.
Well, they were going to, Prez, but that game was postponed, and we're going to talk about something different now. Actually, we're going to talk about Ohio State and Purdue. I felt obliged. Yes, originally we were going to talk about that game, but apparently they don't like the cold down in Houston either. So we're going to go Ohio State, Purdue. I think got a ranked Purdue team here. Ohio State, obviously. They're still partying down in Columbus after last night. So this is worth talking about. You go back to last Tuesday, guys. Of course, it's $5 Tuesday here at WagerTalk.com. My $5 play last Tuesday was the Buckeyes plus the points at Wisconsin. Thanks to a nice second half rally, they were able to cash for us. Obviously, the basketball team has not given much to celebrate down in Columbus. 3 consecutive straight up losses, guys, all by 2 points or less. The Buckeyes, they lose by 2 at home to Oregon after blowing a halftime lead. I just mentioned the rally that came up a bit short at Wisconsin. And then this past Friday, they rally to force overtime, lose by 1 to Indiana. Team is 0-4 against the number. Last 4 is a favorite, Prez, but the last 2 times Ohio State's been a dog, they have covered. 1 for me at Wisconsin, and they also won outright at Rupp Arena against Kentucky. That's a very impressive win. As for Purdue, I get it. 7-game win streak, covered 6 straight. Kind of a letdown spot, though, I think, for the Boilermakers after a West Coast swing that included a win at Oregon. I just think it's too many points. Ohio State does have 8 losses, but 5 of them inside this number. I think they can force some turnovers. Hopefully Devin Royal returns after missing the Indiana game as well. I would take the points. Ohio State, they can't win them close, but they can keep them close, and that's all we need, Press.
Brian Power joining us. And Bryce, sorry about the Utah-Houston. Went straight into puck time today. Actually slept through my alarm today for the first time. And, man, I don't even have a memory of when the last time I slept through my alarm was. So I have no idea what happened today, but I did make it to puck time. You guys can check that out. Brian, I want to talk some early NFL Conference Championship game thoughts real quick, but let's go backwards. I was not on the show yesterday. I went 2-2 in my NFL bets on the weekend. I did win my big one on the over in the Buffalo Bills game. I pushed on, I pushed on
under.
Yeah, well, that's your stupidity for having a bad pick. I pushed on. Well, you're like, oh, to you. So bugger you. I pushed on the Texans, Brian. I pushed on the Texans. That pissed me off, and I had Detroit on the money line, parlayed with Philly. That was one of my losses. And Detroit on the money as a teaser, parlayed with Buffalo. That was my other loss. So it would have and should have been a monster of a weekend for me. But alas, that is moved on. What I do want to say to everybody out there, and this is super important, Brian, feel free to jump in. If any of you guys lost betting on the Rams, betting on Philly, betting on Houston, or betting on Kansas City, you should all quit betting immediately.
Yeah,
Brian?
there were. You should have been able to get the best of the numbers. I'll say this: my weekend, every single play came down to the end. Prez, I had 4 plays over the weekend, went 3-1. Every single one was decided on the last play. I had 2 player props that both cashed on the final drive on Saturday. Then I had the Eagles in a teaser with the Chiefs. Obviously, the Eagles had to survive that last drive. And then to round out the weekend, as I was fake crying earlier, I did have the under in Bills Ravens. I made peace going into that final drive. It was going to land on 52. So, yeah, I didn't get actually the best of the number. So shame on me. I could have, although it didn't go to 52 till pretty close to kickoff. I had 1.5. Obviously,
no, and that's fair. Mm-hmm. Joe Ventrino is in our chat room. Joe, I haven't seen your name again. Lots of love. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. He writes, you should have lost on the Texans. Brian, I do not agree with Joe at all. Like, I understand that the safety, which technically shouldn't have happened, got us the cover. I get that. But betting is not isolated to one moment in an entire football game. we had a Houston kicker miss 4 points. He missed a field goal, and then he missed 7 points. 7 points. 7 points the kicker missed, Joe Vettorino. On top of that, we had the single worst call ever on Patrick Mahomes that literally gave Kansas City another score. Then we had a mediocrely bad call on another Pat Mahomes situation, which gave Kansas City another score. So I'm not going to sit here and say Kansas City didn't deserve to win the game, but Houston should have covered that game start to finish. Any quick thoughts there?
Yeah, I can actually just go. If you want me, I can just go. I can just go right into my thoughts on the Chiefs and Bills AFC Championship. No, I'm not saying that at all. I think it was a lovely way to tee me up, and I'll. You know what? You took a look back. How about now we take a look forward, because I was going to talk about those games. So Bills Chiefs, guys, AFC Championship game. If you've been catching me on these shows, a central part of my handicapping is the notion that what looks good right now might not be as good as it seems, and what looks terrible right now may not be as bad as it seems. Well, in the case of the Bills and Chiefs, Prez, you're obviously talking about two elite teams. We all understand that, right? But both have been really fortunate all year in certain aspects. In the case of the Chiefs, we know what that's been. They have won an NFL record 18 consecutive one-score games. That is insane, completely preposterous. I am not someone who believes that a, quote, clutch gene exists. I think that term was just some made-up Skip Bayless nonsense. Eventually, the Chiefs are going to lose a close game. Everybody loses close games. You cannot win them all. You just can't. This is an insane run that they're on. Eventually, it will end. Now, in the case of the Bills, guys, they've benefited from incredible turnover luck. Not only did they set an NFL record, just 8 turnovers during the regular season, they led the league in turnover differential. Incredibly, Prez, they have not lost a turnover battle in a single game all season. Only team since 1933 to go 19 straight games winning or not losing the turnover battle. So somebody is going to be uncharacteristically unlucky on Sunday. You look at both teams last week. You laid it out, Prez, with the Chiefs. They were outgained by over 100 yards by the Texans, who missed 3 kicks. KC wins by 9. The Bills were also outgained by over 100 yards, but characteristically +3 in turnover margin. Something interesting, and I would like your take on this, sir, is the officiating. You mentioned the call that Mahomes got. He's been getting them all the time.
Yep.
When you've lost Joe Buck and you've lost Troy Aikman, dare I say you've lost America, right? Because they were outwardly complaining about the officiating during that telecast.
Yep.
And I wonder if maybe the referees now keep one of those flags in their pocket in this game Sunday, because the narrative, it's been out there, but it's so apparent now. Everybody's talking about it. The league doesn't want that. They don't want an AFC Championship game decided by a trademark Patrick Mahomes flop roughing the passer penalty. So when you got guys like Buck and Aikman just outwardly criticizing the officiating during the telecast, I think that is something worth paying attention to.
Yeah, and just some real quick news on that, and I'll speak to you really quickly. We have seen Pat Mahomes a sighting today. He is in Italy. He is training with the Italian national soccer team. So I think the flops are going to be worse this coming Sunday, because now he's a professional trained by the very best. So I would be concerned. With that said, I have zero issue with an athlete flopping. Zero. You do what you need to do to win. Period. End of story. There's no such thing as bad sportsmanship. It's war out there. Win. Secondly, I don't agree, Bri. I think and I'll tell you why. Because it's happened in every single game this year. You would have thought at some point the refs would have stopped giving Kansas City free points. And yet it happened twice in the game against the Texans. That was a national televised playoff game, and nothing changed. So I don't see anything changing, and I'm okay with it. It is what it is. Patrick Mahomes was not born with a silver spoon. These refs weren't born favoring Kansas City. The shit just happens. There's no conspiracy involved here, Bri. The league is not calling. I know you didn't say there is. I'm just speaking in general because we're on this topic. The league is not calling the refs saying get Kansas City through. Do I think the refs are purposely not going to throw a flag because of this? No, I don't. Let's hope that the refereeing is a bit better this coming week. Anyway, love having you with us, bro. Let's so you've given us some thoughts on the KC game. Do you have anything to add on the Philly-Washington game?
Well, I know you've got the big trend you teased for later, so I'll save that. I'll just say this. Washington, I'm surprised they're here. It's their fourth consecutive week playing on the road. They're the only team, Prez, that put up more than 23 against this Vic Fangio-coordinated Eagles defense going back to week 5. You look at that last regular season meeting between these two NFC East rivals. It was really interesting because Philly jumped out to that big lead early. Jalen Hurts suffers the concussion. The Commanders came back with the Eagles had Kenny Pickett at quarterback. Commanders overcame 5 turnovers in that game. That is hard to win a game. I think there was some stat at the time, I can't remember it off the top of my head, where they were the first team in forever to win a game where they had 5 turnovers. I think this game is determined by a couple things. One is Philadelphia's ability to run the ball, and 2, Washington's fourth down variance. Obviously, no one has been better dialing it up on fourth down this year than Commanders head coach Dan Quinn. Is there any regression coming in that department for the Commanders? That will decide that game on Sunday.
Bryan Power, everyone. Guys, it's $5 Tuesday over at Wager Talk. This is the day where all our handicappers pick one play. Normally their best, strongest play of the night. They make it $5. Bryan Power, what do you have going for the clients tonight?
5%, $5 play tonight. College hoops. It was this past Saturday. We nailed our first 5% college hoops play of the season. It was West Virginia plus 6.5. I told people, look out, they might shock the world. They beat number 2 Iowa State outright in that game. 2 for 2 in 2025 so far, present 5% plays. We had Ohio State over Oregon as well in the Rose Bowl. It doesn't get much easier than that. 34-18 all sports run, 7-2 overall the last 3 days. Thank you so much, everybody. Head on over to wt.buzz/pp.
One of the best guests we have on the show, Bryan Power. Freaking love that man. Okay, guys, so lots of love to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for being here. And for the guys who are, the 2 people out of 10,000 that want Teddy back, I want Teddy back. Teddy's awesome. And you talk about how great his follow-up questions are. He's the best game breakdowner I've ever seen in my life. So it's not just his follow-up questions. I'm with you guys. Teddy freaking rocks. But alas, it's me now. So let's have a hug, sing Kumbaya, and bring the great, awesome Andy Lang onto the show. Andy, what's going on, my friend?
Oh, it's just so cold. It's -3. It's just so, you walk outside and it's so cold that you just laugh. Like, I can't believe it's this cold. One cool thing though, the sound that the lake makes when it's freezing is awesome. There's these huge loud cracks and booms and stuff that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're excited, man. We've got a pretty decent week. I'll talk PFL later in the week, but Lawrence, we get to bet against a truck driver who's fighting in PFL this weekend. This is a fade the side hustle theory. I'll talk about it later this week. Yes, you can lay the farm against a guy who is a full-time truck driver.
Okay. When are we going to discuss this?
When the lines are available at all the sports books. They're just kind of they're just coming out.
Well, the great thing is you're on every day, so we'll discuss this tomorrow or Wednesday. Okay, so Andy, let's get into, I said I would talk about that undefeated angle at the end of the show, but given that you are Mr. Angle, let's get it out of the way now. Now, this is an angle that I'm curious whether you put weight on or not. Some angles have logic, some don't. The Philadelphia Eagles are undefeated if Dan Alexander is at the game and it's a championship game. So my guess is he's been to 1.
2. He's been to
two.
two. So this
He's
is
been to
100%
two.
it. 100%
They've only
it,
had
right?
2.
He did not
Since
mention
2008.
whether they covered the spread or not, but they are
Oh, they killed 'em.
undefeated. Oh,
They
they
killed 'em.
covered. They're
2-0.
2-0 ATS
Blowout.
with Dan at the game on a championship Sunday in January. Dan is going to the game this Sunday. Is this an angle that we want to use in our handicapping?
Dan, I love you, but I can't get behind 2-0. I'm gonna need a little
Can I
bit
interest
bigger
you
sample.
in any playoff game that I've been at? That bumps it to about 5-0. 5-0, Andy. Can we get to 5-0?
Playoff game? No, I can't get there. I don't think that there's a. I don't think that you being in the
That's
game
fair.
correlates with how the coaching
That's
and
fair.
the playing goes. So sadly, no, this trend is not your friend.
This just in, Wash Redskin, who's one of our most awesomest listeners, he just kidnapped Dan. Dan will no longer be going to the game on Sunday. Andy Lang, let's get into some prop bets, brother, and let's start right off the bat with the great Patrick Mahomes.
I got to ask the chat a question here. You guys brought up Bryan, the great Bryan Power said, I don't believe in clutch gene or anything. I do.
I do.
There's a reason why it's the same guys in the in the championship games, and there's a reason why the same guys choke. Do you guys in the chat believe this? Do you believe there's a such thing as a clutch gene, or guys are more clutch? I don't know. It just feels like it's the same coaches and the same quarterbacks in the championship games every year. But I'll take Patrick Mahomes to not throw an interception. 7 games in a row without an interception. And actually, his last game that he did have an interception was against the Buffalo Bills. But here's the thing, Prez. 1 interception in his last 8 postseason games. That is incredible. They take care of the ball. He does not make the big mistake. Why? Because he's clutch. He's got that clutch gene. And I think you're going to see another game where Mahomes just doesn't make another big mistake. He just doesn't throw the ball to the other team in big moments. He had that game we threw 2 interceptions, and then the season goes on 7 games in a row without an interception. When it matters most, he is really, really good with securing the ball. So you get a very fair price on this one to not throw an interception.
I wonder what Lamar and Joe and Josh, Justin, I wonder what they all think of Patrick Mahomes. I'm so curious. But he seems like such a likable dude. Anyway, Grady Dick. Yeah.
Yeah, like love him off the field. Can't stand him on the field.
I don't know. I mean, there's no way Peyton and Aaron and Drew and them like Tom Brady. There's just no way. But I don't think Tom. I don't think Tom is likable. I think Patrick is likable. Grady Dick. Listen, always important to grade a dick, and we're going to do it on this very show. So, grade our dick.
All right. We'll grade the Dick under 18.5 points, rebounds, plus assists. There's 17.5s out there. It's moved up to 18.5, and I love the under here. Under an 8 out of the last 10 if we're looking at 18.5. But here's the biggest thing for me, Prez. Under in all 4 career games against Orlando. And Orlando is one of the best defensive teams in the league. When he plays Orlando, he only shoots 28% from the field. The Magic are 3rd in defending points and 1st in defending assists against shooting guards. It's just a bad matchup. So we get this line moving up to 18.5. I love it. I love it coming down on the under. I'll make it 5 in a row against Orlando. Remember, this is the same Orlando team, Prez, that Bam Adebayo does not have a 3-pointer made for his entire career. So this Orlando team they play great defense. So we'll take Grady Dick under his PRA tonight.
Andy Lang. Guys, please, bunch of you watching this chat room in the hundreds, take a second out of your day and hit that like button. We don't charge for anything. We do the show every day. We love doing the show. I mean, this is one of my favorite parts of my day, period. But we really do need you guys to hit that like button. It's so greatly appreciated. Shout out to B Daddy, Jess, always love seeing you, Bill Sandoval, all you guys, Wash Redskin, so happy to have you guys in here. Wash Redskins writes, watch this week. A.J. Brown, instead of reading books, is going to implode on the first Hurts dirt ball. The book, yeah. I don't know. AJ seems to have found some calmness. He's playing on a team where a quarterback doesn't know his name, can't throw the ball more than 2 feet, misses on almost every throw ever, couldn't make the CFL. So I understand how frustrated A.J. Brown could be, but he has shown incredible professionalism, maturity, and restraint. What are we talking about?
This is ridiculous. Oh, man, we've only won 12 games in a row. Oh, we only win 85% of our games.
Dude, I'm with you.
Man.
Dan and I laugh about this. We're like, everybody insults Nick Sirianno, and look, he has brain cramps, but I mean, I think he's the winningest coach of all time. I could be wrong, but literally of all time.
We're in the conference championship one more time. It's amazing.
But I still think Jalen Hurts stinks as a quarterback. He's an incredible runner, but whatever. Taylor Pendrith, he is a Canadian, and you have a bet for us on him in the Farmer Insurance Open. What is it?
Well, Prez, you're always my top Canadian, but for this week, we'll take Taylor Pendrith to be the top Canadian. Yeah, so this is a golf tournament that actually starts tomorrow on Wednesday. Every year they do this, so on Sunday they're not going head-to-head against the NFL. So if you're going to play this, make sure you play it today. This tournament starts tomorrow. Pretty simple here. He's only got 2 other Canadians that he's got to beat, and he's way better than them. Plus 0.93 strokes gained the last 12 months. Silverman's at plus 0.1. Svensson is even. Taylor Pendrith finished 9th here last year. Silverman was 56. Svensson missed the cut last year. Pendrith is just a much, much better golfer at this point than those 2 guys. So top Canadian at the Farmers Insurance Open. That's a client play.
Andy, it's $5 Tuesday. What do you got?
$5 NHL best bet. That is up. Did not have an NHL play yesterday because we were saving it for today. 30-16 run in the NHL. 121-72 in the last 2 seasons. So wow. NHL's going really good. WT.buzz/AL. Quick little Australian Open update. Our girl, Sabalenka, advanced, but she did drop a set. Coco Gauff pulled her normal whiny routine last night and lost. And if you guys like watching meltdowns, Zverev is your guy. I love watching Zverev play tennis because he gets mad at anything. Last night, in the middle of his swing, the umpire stopped him because a feather was falling in front of him, and he lost his mind on the umpire. And then Djokovic had a really, really big game against Alcaraz, played great, but be careful, Djokovic may be banged up. He got hurt in the first set, pulled out the big win, but he is definitely not 100% healthy. He'll be dealing with an injury.
Well, that ends my afternoon of watching the Djokovic-Alcaraz fight on rewind or replay. I did tape it, so be it. I have now gotten my 3 hours back. Andy Lang, everyone. Okay, guys, so it's $5 Tuesday at Wager Talk. I've got Mind Play coming up. Before we get into that, stay with us. We've got Rob Veno with some college hoops and NBA, and we got Gianni the Greek. Lots of show ahead. Huge shout out to everyone who's been playing my NHL the last 3 weeks. Wow, what a run. Jessica is in the chat room. I know she's been betting all my NHL. Same with a lot of you guys. I won my play last night on the Maple Leafs. It was a 4% play. I'm now 19-5. That's 19 wins and 5 losses in my last 24 NHL plays. I have a 5% play up tonight. I absolutely love this play. It is only $5. If you are going to bet one single play today, that's it. I'm up double-digit profit in the NHL again. I do it every year. This is my single best sport, period. And I'm seeing it brilliantly. I even gave out a free pick yesterday on Boston -1.5. It cashed. I gave out a free pick a couple of days ago on Ottawa. It cashed. Everything I'm doing in the NHL right now is winning. biggest play in the last few weeks is tonight. It's only $5. Head over there and grab it. And as for a free bet tonight, Dallas is playing Carolina tonight. Two really, really, really strong hockey teams, but two really good defensive hockey teams. If there's sixes, there are sixes out there. If you can find a six, I really like the under in this game. Carolina 19-24 to the under. Dallas 13-27-6 to the under. 13-27-6. They're going under almost every night. This Dallas team, 4 games in their last 7, they held their opponent to only 1 goal. 4 games in their last 7. Twice in their last 10 games has their opponent gotten over 3 goals. Carolina, no different. Good, strong defensive team as well, averaging under 3 goals a game allowed. Take under the total in the Dallas-Carolina game. Rob Veno joining us. And Rob, I love you on the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm great today, Prez. How are you?
Well, dude, I appreciate you asking. I'm doing good. I'm going to go to a casino tonight with Carmine. We're going to play in a $200 turbo poker tournament. Should be a lot of fun. And I will be screaming and yelling at the TV for my 5% play. So yeah, appreciate you asking. I'm doing awesome, brother. No complaints at all. Let's get into, you know what, dude? I'm gonna just hand the mic over to you. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I know you're going to take apart the Mississippi State-Tennessee game. So let's start there. How do we bet that one?
All right. Well, I think in the end, we want to bet Tennessee tonight. They've been pushed up to -8.5, Prez, but a couple of things starting to develop, young in the conference seasons, but we see some trends starting to come forward here. Let's just start with what happened on Saturday. Mississippi State, they're coming in off of a home overtime win, 84-81 against arch rival Ole Miss. State is now 0-3 against the spread in their last 3 games. They might have been getting a little too inflated power rating wise early on with their good performances. They're 5-2 over the total their last 7 though. Tennessee angry in off of a 76-75 loss to Vanderbilt. In-state Vanderbilt, they were 5.5-point favorites. They lost straight up. Here's what I'm talking about with trends starting to develop here. Tennessee, they're showing a real contrast in home and away results during SEC play. At home, they're 2-0, crushing people. 24 and 18-point wins over Arkansas and Georgia. On the road, 1-2 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. Here they're home tonight. Last week, Mississippi State, I was on this show. I thought they had a chance against Auburn without their number 1 center, Gianni Broome. It was a chance for them to step up in class going out on the road. They got demolished 88-68. Is Mississippi State ready to play another top 10 team on the road, especially an angry top 10 team coming in? I'm not sure. The real gap here, though, between these two, if you're just looking at matchups, is defense. Tennessee's number 2 in the country in adjusted defensive rating. Mississippi State 153. But it's especially glaring in 3-point defense, Prez. Tennessee's number 1 in 3-point defense for field goal percentage allowed. Mississippi State 240. And it may come down to that because they both have other attributes that kind of negate each other. So the 3-point arc could be the difference. Yeah, we lost a little opening line value, but I still think that the 18 and 24-point home wins by Tennessee suggest they can win by an 8.5-point margin. Tennessee -8.5.
Rob Veno, that was really well done. Wisconsin tonight, they're playing UCLA. 15-3, this Wisconsin team. They're playing a 12-6 UCLA team. Total here 141.5. Side -4.5. 4s as well. How are you betting this game?
Like the points here, Prez, like the underdog, plus the 4.5. Wisconsin's in the second half of this Southern California road trip. They went to USC the other day, crushed them, 84-69. UCLA, amazingly, out of left field, came up with 94 points the other day against Iowa. And that cross-country travel stuff that we've noted in football in these conferences, and now we're noting in basketball in these conferences, worked against Iowa there. They get beat 94-70. Wisconsin, talk about current form inside the Big Ten, 4-1 against the spread right now. UCLA only 1-3. That was their first cover. Wisconsin's held 4 of their 5 opponents under to 69 points or less. UCLA has scored 69 or less in 3 of their 5. Nice matchup there. The Bruins had gone 5 straight games shooting between just 36 and 42%. Saturday, they shoot 62%, so a little bit of a mirage there. I think this matchup and situation, the difference in opponents for UCLA is definitely defense. Iowa plays none, thus UCLA found their way to 94. And Wisconsin is number 4 in the Big Ten in defensive efficiency. And on offense, Wisconsin can score both ways, Prez. They hurt you inside, they hurt you outside. Yep. Number 1, 2-point field goal percentage team. Number 2, 3-point field goal percentage team. They get to the free throw line. They probably stress UCLA's defense a little too much here. And I don't know that UCLA has weaponry to get back if they get behind. I can't see a repeat performance of that 62.5% from the field happening for UCLA here. Mick Cronin, for a good portion of this season, has been bashing his team for being soft. I don't know that Saturday's a turnaround, signal. So I'm going to take Wisconsin plus the 4.5 here, probably outright over UCLA.
Rob Veno joining us. Rob, before we get to the next couple of games, we still have Gianni coming. What do you have going on $5 Tuesday?
Well, I went to the college basketball board, Prez, and took my best college basketball play tonight and put that up for 5%. I could have said tonight. The game does go tonight. It's a 9 o'clock Eastern start. We're going to have that one up and available for $5 Tuesday. It's up right now, as a matter of fact. So you can get it. Go ahead and jump on it. College Hoop, $5 Tuesday.
Rob Veno. Rob, I am going to give out a play as well on the Wisconsin-UCLA game. This is a client bet. It is a 3% bet from me, and that is the over 141.5. And I think this number is way too low. This is a red-hot Wisconsin team that's won 7 straight. And during that time period, they've scored an average of 83 points per game. So we know this Wisconsin team can put up points. And UCLA, well, they have no issue playing at a fast tempo. This is a team that just dropped 90 on Iowa at home. I think we're going to see a fun game. And I think it's going to be closer to 151 than 141. Take over the total in the Wisconsin-UCLA game. Rob, Denver, they are a big favorite tonight, minus 12.5. They've won 2 in a row. They've won 6 of 7. They're playing the Philadelphia 76ers, who I think are on an 0-76 run. What do you suggest we do in this game?
Well, once you look at the injury report, President, you notice that Philadelphia's top 3 centers are probably out of this game like they were Sunday against Milwaukee. Joel Embiid definitely out. Andre Drummond closer to questionable rather than game time. And also Yabusele, the third-team center, he's closer to questionable than game time. Neither one played on Saturday. Paul George, game time decision. Hey, Philadelphia they had 8 guys on the injury report Saturday, and they probably have 8 tonight. But without the centers, Prez, the other center is Nikola Jokic. And I don't play props, but if you want to play props, I guess you could go to town with Jokic here. For Philly, it's their 3rd game in the last 4 days. It's the final of a 3-game road trip. Denver had yesterday off. They come back from a 2-day Florida trip. The matchup's brutal for the Sixers. Like I say, especially in the middle, Jokic should have a field day. They had a rookie, Adam Bona, step in and start last game at Milwaukee. Giannis went 13 for 17, 34 points, 15 boards. The Bucks had 52 points in the paint and a 10-rebound advantage. Denver's the 7th fastest-paced team in the league right now, and they're number 4 in points per possession. The Sixers are 27 and 26. Just not good. None of the matchups work here for Philly. They're shorthanded. It's in altitude, and in the final game of a road trip, you could just mail this one in, Prez. I think that's what they do. Again, we don't like to generally bet on teams returning home after a road trip in their first game, but it was only 2 games. And Denver right now, 6-1 last 7, crushing people by double digits in all 6. I like Denver minus the points.
Rob, such a great job, bro. And some of the people in the chat room really enjoyed your breakdowns as well. Thanks for doing this, and hopefully we'll see you next week or the week after. Rob Veno, everyone. We got to keep this show rocking and rolling. 6-7 minutes left. The great Gianni the Greek joining us. My man, how are you?
Never better, President. Never better. A little disappointed. That field goal with 26 seconds left cost me 17 units of profit, close to 15, 20 dimes extra. But I had a nice future on Ohio State. I'll be giving out free $500. Anyone that's in that drawing from Instagram and TikTok, I'll be doing that later today. So you could accept it in cash, accept it in Bitcoin. I'll give you the offer. So I'm happy coming off the Ohio State win. But like I said, it stings when you have it perfectly set up to hit that freaking middle. And, they kick a field goal with 26 seconds. But what are you going to do? Everything's good. Stock market's doing good. New mining is up. Crypto is up. Be careful. Bank of Japan will be messing with their interest rates on the 23rd. Every time they do that, we see a big dump, especially in Ethereum. So be careful there. But I'm excited. Conference championships are coming up. I already fired 2 best bets, a 5% and a 4%. So excited for what's ahead, brother.
Well, Gianni, let's get into it. Firstly, TFK writes, he's in the chat, and I love the guys in the chat. Prez, I love Canadian bacon. TFK, that's not a thing. Like, flat out not a thing. There is no such thing. I don't understand what you're talking about. I know you mean pea-meal bacon. I get it. But there is no pigs in Canada that have some part of their body that pigs in America don't have. Okay? They're all the same.
Maybe you guys figured out how to butcher it differently and came out with that Canadian bacon that we have here.
It's not we just call it's called pea meal bacon. Gianni, what's going on with the syndicates and all the money coming in on some hoop games tonight?
Slow day so far. A little surprising, but yesterday, it was even a slower day. So I think they're waking up a little bit slower today. We only 3 college basketball moves I got down with so far for these groups. 603 VCU -6.5, -7. 611 Bowling Green plus the 10. 632 UAB -12. In NHL, I know you're a fan, Prez, under 6.5, game 23, Detroit and Philadelphia. And then in the NBA, game 540, under 230, 231, 230.5, Washington and the LA Lakers. So not much going on this early, but that's right. What we've gotten down on so far.
Now, Gianni, while you were talking, I went in and took a peek. I took a peek at your 5%ers for the NFL. I will not say anything, but I looked. So I know that you have 2 client plays up, both big in the sport. So rather than discussing what you like and what you're betting, I need to know what else is going on in those 2 games, and especially given that we now have a 6.5 on tap with Philadelphia.
Well, listen, that there was no surprise there because we had a hypothetical look ahead. And anyone that liked the Washington side, we just sit back and wait to catch those points. Anyone on the Philadelphia side, you got to get out ahead because of the fact, again, they put hypothetical lines out. And the hypothetical before the Eagles played was about 8.5. So they had Philly 8.5 against this Washington Redskins team. So when they brought it out a little bit lower, most of us expected that line will not last. So again, it was the timing there. More importantly, you're seeing a little bit of under on both of these, but not enough to have any huge reaction. That's what makes it a little strange to me. Like usually, again, these groups don't work together. But if they're going to fire on an under, then there's got to be some conviction because we know the bias of the bettors. It's usually the favorites and the over. So when they come out ahead and bet the under, but it doesn't move significantly, I always have to do it with a little bit of caution. Like, is this a little bit of a manipulation? Are they trying to get the steam chasers to jump on board, bring this down to 47.5? 47, 46.5, 46 even, and get them a much better number to slam that over before the weekend, before Sunday, before the public money really comes in. Because we know they don't bet about most of the money, the NFL Sunday, they'll tell you comes in with about those 3 hours prior to kickoff, plus 80+% of it. Obviously, Championship Sunday, it'll come in a little bit earlier. Most people have their opinions made already, but they don't fire till later in the week because most don't want to tie up their capital. They're betting each and every day, NBA, college basketball, all that good stuff. But what I did see, Prez, here's what I saw yesterday. There was a ton of teasers, both with Ohio State and Notre Dame. Now, both of those got there. So they have live teasers going into Sunday's action. So it was a good bet. We talked about it yesterday where I said, listen, you never say always or never. And though you don't supposed to tease college football, if you're ever going to tease college football, this is probably the time. You have an efficient line because it's the last game of the season. It's probably really, on point because of the money it's going to be bet, kind of like the Super Bowl, and we had a low total. So those that did it, good for you. Here's what they tied it into. They tied it into the Eagles, and they tied it into Buffalo. Now, it made sense on the Buffalo side. You get it up to that 8, 7.5, 8, regardless where you got it. You got a Wong teaser with not a crazy high total. Would have liked better 43 if you had that +8. So that made sense. But the Eagles down to pick them, again, I wouldn't use it if for that reason. We know we like to go through 7 and 3, but I think it's those guys that like the Eagles on Sunday and said, hey, here's a chance for me to get them more or less on the money line by tying them in with Ohio State or Notre Dame. So usually that's a precursor, Prez, of what's to come. So I do expect when the public gets involved, I would not be surprised if you see more Buffalo money and this line drops on Kansas City. We're already seeing 1.5 on the board at some spots after it got bet up to 2. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Eagles move up to that key number of 7. Yes, I said it. It would take a lot of money to get it to 7 because you're opening yourself up to a huge middle, -4.5 and +7. Something the books don't want to do, but I think the pressure may get there. But then again, the public has been betting Washington. They've been betting Washington. They've been getting it done. They're not afraid of the first-year head coach, the rookie quarterback. They've been getting it done together. Now they're in the conference championship. But again, the look ahead was 8.5, and they put up 4.5, so it got bet. That's what you expect.
Gianni the Greek, well done, dude. Remember I told everybody to take all 4 dogs up in the teaser? Yeah, that cashed. Gianni the Greek, wonderful. I love having you on every day, dude. What do you got going on $5 Tuesdays?
Isolated 4% in college basketball. Coming off a nice winner in college basketball. Isolated NHL yesterday as well. So yeah, got that up. Got my NFL NFC conference championship stuff up. Like I said, I have both games already in there. So now I'll be looking for those props. Props in conference championship game, more so in the Super Bowl. That's where the money is made. I'm going low volume, but when the opportunity is there, I am not going to cheat my subscribers, and we're going to fire away. So hopefully we get some props coming in, and I'll be able to share them on the show throughout the week as they land.
Wonderful stuff, Gianni the Greek. Great show, everybody. It's $5 Tuesday over at WagerTalk. If you have never purchased a play from us before, today's the day. $5. Pick your best handicapper, see how they work, see how they write their analysis, see what their thought process is, figure out if they're the right guy for you. And if you are a regular client of ours, go grab 3 or 4 of these plays today and just get familiar with how the guys write their analysis. Marco, his analysis is so much different to Brian Powers, to mine, to Gianni's. So, $5 Tuesday, really the best time to play at WagerTalk. Huge shout out to everybody who was on the show today. Brian Power, Andy Lang, Rob Veno, Gianni the Greek. On behalf of Dan and myself, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Lots of love. Let's all win together.